FightShow.tv fans, welcome back for another show, and a great show. We've been off for a little while, but this time I'm with my co-host here. I'm happy to be back.
I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to talk MMA.
Very excited. We've been waiting for a little while. We've been off, Casa been doing his thing. I've been doing mine. But you know what, fans, we're back, and we're gonna give you a great show, and we have a lot to talk about. Casa, go ahead.
All right, we're gonna start off coming off the heels of UFC 110 main event. Cain Velasquez versus Minotauro Nogueira.
I'm still shocked.
The up-and-comer versus the legend. And you know what? Minotauro has been known for the punishment he's able to sustain and still catch you with a submission.
Unbelievable. I mean, especially the fact that, I understand when he fought the Frank Mir Minotauro, where he was coming off from a staph infection and all types of problems. And, okay, that was, there was an excuse, a valid excuse. And then he came back slowly, and then he fought Randy Couture, and that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, and he looked good.
And he looked amazing. I mean, both guys, Couture and Minotauro, but Minotauro looked absolutely great. And apparently this camp, he was in top shape. He had no problems, and I was in the impression that he was going to win this fight.
But Velasquez. Cain Velasquez is the real deal, my friend.
He surprised me.
You know what I mean?
Big time.
This guy, I was always impressed, but he had to take that next step in his progression. He had to beat the legend, and he did it dominant. That was a knockout in a
fashion.
Yeah. When that punch connected, it was over.
Wow. I mean, I've seen Minotauro fight guys like Fedor and Emelianenko. Yes, he was younger. I believe that he's been taking a lot of shots, a lot of punishment, Minotauro, for a long time. But you know what, Velasquez, man, I'm still surprised.
Cain Velasquez, he has great wrestling. He didn't even need to use it this fight, which was very smart actually, because they probably warned him, don't take Nogueira down because of his great jiu-jitsu. So he stood and he exchanged and he caught him.
Yes, and you know what? I still believe it's Nogueira's fault, because I see a lot of those fighters in MMA. They're trying to prove a point that they can stand with the guy, or if it's not, if it's not your skills. I would have just told Minotauro Nogueira, you know what? Just stick to what you do best, especially against a guy like Velasquez, who's young. He's hungry to go to the next step. Just go to the floor, do your jiu-jitsu, get him into an armbar, get him into one of your submissions that you specialize, and get the fight over with, and go to the next level. But the
problem would have been taking Cain Velasquez down. He's too good of a wrestler.
But he didn't even try. That's my point.
That's
he didn't even try.
He was the best outcome for Nogueira would have been for Cain to take him down, and then Nogueira catches him in something.
Right.
But Cain has a good training camp, you know what I mean? They knew that was his strength. They were going to avoid that. And his boxing's been getting better and better. I think after he got rocked a few times with a Congo fight, he really worked on his head movement and and that was a nice crisp punch. And
to his credit, he had a good feeling that he wanted to keep that fight standing up, because if he would have gone to the floor, he has a really good chance of getting a submission. Especially, everybody knows Nogueira is unbelievable on the floor. So it was a smart move. He did it. He won, and he beat a legend.
And I'm excited to see what Cain Velasquez is going to do in the sport. That puts him right at the top of the heavyweight division. And the heavyweight division is getting exciting. It's for a while now, heavyweight division, no one cared, and now it's becoming.
UFC has done a really good job, getting these guys back in the spotlight.
And with Brock Lesnar's illness now sidelined, we have an interim title fight coming up in the UFC 111, the next UFC, March 26th. Shane Carwin versus Frank Mir.
Big boy Shane.
Shane never went past the first round, I believe. Knockout artist, you know what I mean?
I don't know about that, but I'll tell you, he's a beast.
He is a beast, but Frank Mir has pumped up, you know what I mean? I think the beating he took at the hands of Brock Lesnar is the greatest thing that could have happened to him, because he's kind of been obsessed with getting that rematch.
Right.
And he pumped up his rematch when he fought Chikongo. He knocked him out bad.
Right.
Punched him, caught him in that guillotine choke.
But Shane Carwin ain't no Chikongo. He's a lot more stronger than I believe than Congo.
One thing I will say though, has Shane Carwin really been tested? Has he really fought an 8-game guy?
Well, we're gonna find out. But I believe that Shane. I believe that this guy is going to be really hard to stop.
A lot of people in the MMA I read on the internet, on forums, people like criticize Frank Mir for being overrated. You know what? I think the guy has great jiu-jitsu. His stand-up has gotten improved over the years, and it'll be a great fight. Personally, I hope Frank Mir wins, just because I would like to see another fight with Lesnar. Now after the illness, we'll see if he's going to come back as strong as he once was. And you have Cain Velasquez right there in the mix.
Costa, the bottom line is, I don't think now that Brock Lesnar saw what Mr. Mir has to give him. I mean, he fought him already twice, and I think that the fact that he, gave him a good beating the second time around, I don't think the third fight is really necessary, because I think the outcome is going to be the same. So I believe that Frank Mir should, really just focus on Shane Carwin, because he has a lot, on his hands, and he has a full plate in front of him.
All it takes is one shot from Shane Carwin. Right. We've seen that before.
But I'm just saying, like, I would rather see right now at this point Velasquez against Frank Mir, and I'm sorry, Velasquez against Brock Lesnar for me, because we've already seen the Frank Mir, and I don't think the outcome is going to be any different.
Well, we'll see, because like we said, it's for the fight coming up. It's for the interim belt. So whoever wins is going to have to fight Brock, and then Kane's going to have to wait his turn.
Unless Shane Carwin, like I believe so, will win this fight against.
Then he gets to fight Brock Lesnar.
You get him to fight against Brock Lesnar, and that becomes a whole different monster.
We unify the belts, then we have the winner fight Cain Velasquez.
We got two monsters fighting.
In any case, we have an exciting heavyweight division, and we look forward to seeing that.
I'm really happy. I just want to give my props to Dana White for putting the UFC heavyweight division back in the spotlight, and I really commend him for that.
And hopefully one day we'll see Fedor in the UFC too.
Costa, don't even get me started with Fedor, because you're going to I get goosebumps every time I talk about Fedor. The bottom line is, Fedor, no matter who it is, he'll beat everybody in the UFC, and he'll beat them in the same night. How's that?
You know what? I'm a huge Fedor fan. I would love to see him step up his game and fight the top guys in the UFC. And anyways, we'll not get started on that, because we will talk all night about Fedor.
But my money's on Fedor, 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. How's
all right,
that?
and of course, another Montreal native, George St. Pierre, is headlining the next UFC against Dan Hardy.
We've been waiting for this guy for a while now.
Yeah, well, he had the groin injury. He hasn't fought in almost 9 months.
Everybody's happy to see him back.
Since his decisive victory over very dangerous Thiago Alves. And George made it look easy, you know what I mean?
Wow, he's getting better and better. It's incredible. That's scary.
That's one of the reasons I'm not excited for this Dan Hardy fight. People are talking about Dan Hardy's power. I will tell you this. A lot of people give him credit, but you know what? You have to realize the UFC is a business, and I think the fact that Dan Hardy is from England, and they have a huge following in England,
you know what I mean? Help a lot.
They want a British champion. But the truth is, anything Dan Hardy does, Thiago Alves was better, had more power. John Fitch was a better wrestler, and George St. Pierre disposed of all of them.
I understand that, but at the same time, Dan Hardy won his last fight, and many people didn't even think he was going to win this last fight, and he did it.
And I will agree, there are no guarantees in MMA. We all saw what happened a few years ago with George St. Pierre and Matt Serra.
There you go.
The punch heard around the world. You can never underestimate an opponent.
But in logic, yes, George St. Pierre should win this fight.
But I want to see George look good. I want to see George with a decisive victory, and then we'll see what's going to come up. Dana saying that the fight that everybody wanted to see, George moving up to fight Anderson Silva, it's not very realistic. But the truth is,
it might happen unless George, retires before then and goes and does his, his wrestling, because that's what he wants to do.
But the truth is, George St. Pierre walks around at around 195, maybe 200, 190. Anderson Silva plumps up to 230. He's knocking guys out at 205.
But at the same time, he does train with also a lot of the times with Rashad Evans, and we've seen him. And Rashad Evans says George is one of the strongest guys.
He could hold his own in wrestling.
So I believe he could do it with Anderson Silva.
You never know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But
that's going to be a great fight. I believe Georgia is going to win this fight.
Yeah, and I'm always excited to see GSP fight. You know what I mean? Local Montreal boy, support him 100%.
Okay.
And that's all for now, folks.
We covered pretty much everything, and until our next show, guys, FightShow.tv fans coming back for more and more.